The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So let's see here. I'm starting out quoting House Speaker Kevin Johnson, dropping this message to every American. Quote, "This is not a game. Everybody needs to understand these crazy little mamdanis who are popping up all over the country. They are a danger to you and your family. This is not a game." That's according to the House Speaker. Dominic Carter here with you. So much to get to this hour. The number to reach me live, 800-848-9222. So with Mamdani in mind, New York in 1 year has lost $11 billion in revenue in one single year. Florida has made $21 billion in net interstate wealth. Go figure. A rare Senate appearance of two Supreme Court judges on Capitol Hill at a Senate hearing asking for $230 million to fund security after facing heightened security threats. And this comes as these threats are at an alarming high. We'll break it all down. President Trump says that Senator Graham's fatal medical emergency was likely tied to a rare hereditary condition rather than foul play. I have to admit, I initially thought that it was foul play. And also, I'm still following up from earlier this morning. I'm sure you've seen the video of that 1,000-pound bison throwing that grandfather 8 feet up in the air at Yellowstone National Park. In Wyoming. I've been to that park. I've stayed overnight in that park, and you got to feel for Grandpa. We're going to deal with all of these issues, but I want to start with this. I want to speak from the heart for a moment. We see your phone calls coming in, and I really want to speak from the heart. I don't know what's going on. When I drive through a community, any community throughout this country, and I see an American flag, I feel enormous pride. I feel safe. And generally, when I look at the house that has the flag flying, it's a home where you know that the homeowner is taking care of his or her property. So I feel good. I feel patriotic, especially if I see 2 or 3 on a single block. No matter where I go. It's something that makes me feel real good, and I say this as someone who has been a seasoned traveler all over the world. Nothing feels as good as when you come home, back to America, and you see that American flag. Now, I want you to compare that to hateful Sonny Holston on The View. I don't know where they got these clowns from. They need to send them back. What I just said about the American flag, Sonny Holston says just the opposite. Listen to this.
There are times when I walk into a community and I see American flags all over the community, and I suddenly feel unsafe because there is a section of this country that has co-opted the American flag, and they equate being an American or an American flag with white supremacy, and that should never be the symbol of white supremacy, but they have weaponized.
Because the flag belongs to all of us.
It does belong to all of us.
So I stand by that. Yeah, and it's something you've said and been very consistent about, and I've heard it from other people of color for sure.
Well, I was going to say what's interesting is that this is not a new conversation amongst the black community, in the black community.
So Sonny Holston declaring that she gets nervous when she sees an American flag. Folks, I'll just say this. Don't you see the con? Sonny Holston is a multi-millionaire. Her husband is a doctor. Do you think she has anything relatable to your life except running game, telling you what you want to hear? 800-848-9222. So just minutes ago, Lindsey Graham's sister was sworn in to the Senate, and I say bravo to her. No one knows the senator better than his sister. She is not the first family member to be sworn in after something happens to a U.S. senator. Bravo to President Trump for supporting her. And she seems like a normal American that can bring that to the United States Senate, at least now on an interim basis. She's been sworn in. I do have to admit something. I'm about to start with your telephone calls in just a moment on this hot, hot summer day. When I first heard about Senator Graham, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, as I said on the Midnight Show, you listen to this program, you know conspiracies turn me off. They really do. I think you're nutty if you believe in conspiracies. But in this case, I said, wait a New York minute. This man comes back from Ukraine and all of this happens in a matter of minutes and hours. Well, President Trump speaking out, declaring that in all likelihood this is hereditary from his father and that no foul play is involved.
You know, he had a problem. His father had a very similar problem, as you know. It's very unique. At first I heard it was clogged arteries, because he did have clogged arteries. He had a problem with that. He was, I wish he took better care of himself. I say, you can solve that problem, but what happened is actually something that's very hard to detect. It was not related to any blockage. It was a totally different thing. And supposedly, and I've watched all the medical reports, I've had the doctors from the White House come in and explain what happened. And this is something that is almost undetectable. And if it happens, there's not much you can do about it. It sounds unfortunate, but there's not much you can do about it. If you look at his father died of the same thing at about the same age. So there was not much. They say it's almost undetectable. You can detect it by if you have a very bad back. That's a sign. It's a bad sign. So if anybody has a bad back, it's a pretty rough thing to think about. But the fact that's one of the primary signs. And he would tell me he had a bad back. But little did anyone realize it was for that. So, and when that bursts, which it did, it burst. There's not much. So I don't see a lot of evil there. I know there's all sorts of conspiracy theories going along, and I don't think the FBI. I think the FBI is wasting their time if they're doing that. Yeah.
So I disagree with the president. I don't think the FBI is wasting their time. I think that you have to look at every option until you're absolutely sure what happened. But again, my radar went up that said something is rotten in Denmark the moment that I heard of the death of Senator Graham, but it appears an hereditary aorta problem that goes back to his father, and it's one that's very hard to detect. And should it happen, you only have minutes, literally, before a death is imminent. And so his sister sworn in to the U.S. Senate. Supreme Court justices, we see all your calls on Capitol Hill. Justice Barrett, Justice Kagan, talking about the threats to justices and that they need more money, in this case $230 million to fund security. This is Justice Barrett.
They have required me my children to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one. It's also been reported in the news that roughly 6 weeks ago, I was the victim of a swatting incident. At that point, one of my teenage sons, opened the door to go out with friends and saw in our street, it was full of police cars, who had responded to a false report of gunshots and raised voices in my home.
And so there you have it. The justice, we'll hear Justice Kagan a bit later, Also, coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will chat live with former Congressman Peter King. I want to skip here, Carlos, sound bites and go to soundbite number 1. The owner of this network, John Catsimatidis, appearing on the morning show here in New York with Sid Rosenberg, discussing that highly controversial immigrant enclave map that Mayor Mamdani put forth and says changes are coming.
You know, they can't torture us. You know why?
Why?
We don't give a crap.
We don't care.
No. You know, I mean, you know what happens? The Jews care the most.
We do.
Italians
because
care
we
a lot.
take the biggest beating. That's why.
But you know why? But then they give you a bigger beating.
I know.
Because when they see you react,
I know.
They say, well, and they laugh and they go and let's beat him up some more.
I know. No, I know. You're right about that.
You want to beat up me, Astoria? I don't give a crap.
And skipping ahead to soundbite 15, this is actor Robert Davi in terms of from Die Hard, the Hollywood movie. And let's just say he is not a fan of Mamdani.
You jerk. What you did, snub Little Italy, and you want to take down the statues. You're a jerk, Mamdani, and I hope every New York Italian-American and Irish-American spits on you when they see you. I would spit on you if I saw you. Shame on you, you garbage man. Shame on you. Respect the city you're in and understand the people that helped build it.
And so tempers are still running high at Mamdani over this. So let's start with your telephone calls. Donna in Connecticut, line 3. Donna, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. About the flags, you can always tell, like you said, you know, the homes that are flying the American flag, those are, you know, your good working class people, probably religious people, et cetera, et cetera. What always annoyed me, and it never happened when I was a kid, I lived in an Italian, Irish, German neighborhood. Nobody flew their expatriate flag, okay? They only put the American flag. All I see now, and I left the Bronx 5 years ago, all I saw was Albanian flags, mostly in my area. The Puerto Ricans were always putting their flag first. They never put... all the Puerto Ricans I've ever seen riding around in the Bronx or at Orchard Beach, they always had the Puerto Rican flag. Talking about the people on The View and that other socialist communist saying that she wanted to wipe her mouth with the flag, I feel like slapping them in the face, because when I think of all the lives that have been lost over the 250 years, it really pisses me off. My father was a veteran in World War II, 750 miles he marched in the Rhineland. I know Vietnam veterans. If you see on Facebook now, they're doing the 9/11 tributes. I don't know, I'm getting on my feed about all the people that died at 9/11, the 343 firefighters. Then you're seeing like veteran suicide memoriams. I mean, it's not astonishing as far as how far this country has gone from its core. And the other thing I just want to say is...
Hey, Donna, I'm sorry. I got to take a break. I apologize. I'm a minute and a half over the break because I respect what you were saying, but I'm sorry I have to step in at that point. Folks, we're going to take a break, and we are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we are back. How many times do we have to go through this? Mamdani gave you his song and dance. I'm giving you the nice version of He Conned You. Rents, just released today, are at an all-time high, at least in Manhattan. We have a situation where in just 1 year, according to the Citizens Budget Commission, New York has lost $11 billion in taxable income because he wants to chase the wealthy away and the billionaires. Folks, how many times can I say this? There is nothing for free. And frankly, to keep it real with you, it's despicable that you want something for free. Have a little pride. Get up off your ass and go to work like the rest of us, okay? If I don't work, I don't eat. If I don't work, my family's in trouble. If I don't work, I can't help my grandkids. I can't help to fund their college tuition. You're better than this. Stop thinking that you're going to get something for free. That's what's wrong with the welfare system. Moynihan was right. It destroyed minority communities because now you're sitting back and you want something for free. Now, if you're a senior citizen and you've worked all your life and paid taxes, that's different. That's not like the migrant story where they come in pimping Americans. Get up off your ass and get a job. How it can't be that hard. You can get a job anywhere. McDonald's, Home Depot. Hello, sir. How are you? What are you looking for? Nails are in line 5. Do something rather than sitting around listening to phony politicians like Mamdani thinking he's going to do something for you, because at the end of the day, he's not going to do a darn thing. Are buses free? Are the supermarkets open yet? I mean, I'm sorry, how stupid are you? I hate to put it that way. Let's continue with the telephone calls. Rhonda, line 4, New Jersey. Rhonda, what's on your mind?
It's great listening to you, Dominic. I'm just
Thank
reading
you.
about Mayor Adams, and he is blaming, Mamdani is blaming the Adams administration for leaving out the Italian, Irish, and Jewish communities. And I know Mayor Adams was a great friend of Israel, and I can't believe he would do this. Why can't Mamdani own up to his mistake just to whitewash all these other communities? What he's trying to change the face of New York City, and can Mayor Adams respond to this?
Well, Mayor Adams is nobody's fool, and the way the game works is you blame the person before you for everything that's wrong, and the person that's no longer in office, they may respond to some of it, but not to all of it. The fact of the matter is, Mamdani, this occurred on Rhonda, and it occurred on Mamdani's watch. He wanted this done, and now he's running for cover because he's cold busted. It's as simple as that. I've got to take a break. Coming up, a lot to get to. We'll talk live to former Congressman Peter King. Stay with us.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we are back. I look forward to this segment each and every Tuesday. Former Congressman Peter King. Congressman, how are you, your wife, and your family?
Dominic, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to hear that, Congressman. So much to talk to you about on this hot day. And I know, as you've said in the past, you're in air conditioning right now. So I'm looking at my Twitter at my ex, Congressman King. Jimmy Fontanez of Staten Island says, Goya is not just a 4-letter word or food brand. It means hashtag get off your ass and do something with your life and not let the welfare system eat you alive. Help me with this, Congressman. We've talked about this 1,000,001 times. Now, yes, you had a third candidate in the race for New York City mayor that threw the contest to Mamdani. But how can people be so stupid? And I hate to use that word, but to go for the con that this guy was selling. We're looking at a 12-block homeless encampment near the Intrepid Museum. You can get your drugs and prostitution at the same place. We're looking at record high rents in Manhattan. We're looking at the bus fare, not a drop that Mamdani promised. We're looking at millions he's putting to supermarkets. He's not going to be able to deliver. The bodegas and the other supermarkets complaining, as you would expect, that he's going to run them out of business. I could go on and on and on. How could people go for this nonsense?
I honestly don't know. And, as outraged and as concerned as I am about the threats to New York, I hate to say it, New York deserves it because the people, and again, having the right to vote is the most important right any person can have at all. And the fact that so many people didn't vote, the fact that those who did vote voted in a very uninformed way, New York is only itself to blame. And I think any of us who really feel strongly about this, our obligation is to try to turn that around somehow. And I would say pretty much the same people who are complaining the loudest either voted for Mandami or didn't bother to go out there. These stories, it's all the same. It doesn't matter you elect, who you elect. These guys are going to do whatever they want to do anyway. All that kind of stupid talk is what has led to this. The fact is that voters did rise up and they elected Rudy Giuliani, and that saved the city of New York. They confirmed that by voting for Mike Bloomberg. And then since then, again, they've sort of taken it for granted. I remember Joe Loder, when he ran for mayor in 2013, when Rudy had to step down, and I guess actually after Bloomberg had to step down, so it would have been 2017. He said when he was going around talking about the possible going back to crime or how things could happen, people had no idea what he was talking about. They had forgotten already what had happened just in the 20 years before that, when the city did have so much crime, when the city did have so much dirty streets, when you couldn't go on the subways. I mean, and all that somehow got forgotten, and people think that that just happened, that we had a safe city, that we had a great city. And now it's being undermined under us, and people don't know what to do. They're just sitting back complaining and bitching and moaning. And you got to get out, you got to vote, you got to talk to your neighbor to vote, you got to get, as you say, get off your ass, at least on election day. Get out there and vote. Don't be sitting home and complaining.
But Congressman King, and I know I'm a bit repetitive here, but, he's a rapper. He'll be the first Muslim American mayor. Look at his smile. And, I just don't get it. How could you think that why would you want something for free? Congressman, you've worked all your life. I've worked all my life. We clearly understand we don't work, we don't eat, our families don't eat. It's that simple. Why? Moynihan warned us years ago, Senator Moynihan. Why do people think they're going to get something for free? Is it because of welfare?
I think that whole mentality sort of is in there. It's a welfare mentality. You think, first of all, you're entitled to it. Also, this feeling that everybody else is making out well, but you're not, because somehow you're being isolated, you're being marginalized. That's baloney. There's no country in the world where more people, no matter how poor you start out, no matter what poor background your family comes from, you can make it. You're not all going to become multimillionaires. You're going to make a decent living, at least a living better than what 90% of the rest of the world is enjoying or not enjoying. So, and also, Senator Moynihan also spoke about defining deviancy down, where we just lower our standards, we accept a lower level, we figure it's okay, somehow excusing things that should be criticized, having standards just disappear. All that has an impact. And even that's why, to me, like spitting on the sidewalk, spitting on people's windshields. Okay, does anyone really get hurt by that? No, not individually, but collectively, it adds to a degradation of society. And one thing leads to another, and that's what we're going through right now. And Mandami, with that smile, he's smiling, everything is great. I don't blame him. He should be laughing, because he's gotten the best of everyone right now, and so far he's getting away with it. And we have an obligation to speak out. And when we do attack him, do it intelligently. We can't just be saying the election was stolen or this happened. The fact is that if enough people had done the right thing, he would have lost the election. But too many people stayed home and complained. As you say, we had another candidate who stayed in, running what in effect was a third-party candidacy, and that did make it a difference. That was a marginal difference, but still, with all of that, it never should have been close. This should have been a 70-30 rejection of Mandami.
Absolutely, but it was. I hate Cuomo. Oh, anybody but Cuomo. Oh, Cuomo's the worst. He's the worst. How could you say anything about him, Dominic Cuomo? No. Anyway, Congressman King, and in just 1 year, New York has lost $11 billion in taxable income. And these people sitting on their backsides wanting free stuff, they don't know what that means. They don't know that means the money, the moolah, is about to dry up. And who do you think is going to be hit first? You, the people that are sitting home thinking you're going to get something for nothing. It doesn't exist. Talk to me, Congressman King, about over the weekend. I couldn't believe when I woke up Sunday morning and Senator Lindsey Graham was no more. He was no longer with us. Being honest with you, Congressman, I'm not a conspiracy guy. I was like, there's no way that this was natural. Something is going on here. I now understand President Trump talking a short time ago saying it's hereditary from his father. He doesn't believe any foul play is involved and that the FBI is wasting its time. That's from the President of the United States. You say what, Congressman King?
They say the president may end up being right, but the fact is that we know, and I've heard this from people in the intelligence community, that Russia has branched out and reached out and considers making deadly attacks on Americans. This goes different. They have not done this in the past. They are so desperate over what's happened in Ukraine. And so, to me, we have an obligation to do a full autopsy to see exactly what did happen. Listen, hopefully it will show that Lindsay was a great guy, by the way. I was proud to call him a friend, that he died entirely of natural causes. But we cannot rule the other out because we are dealing. I mean, I really disagree when the president says that this is a waste of time, whatever. First of all, Putin is one of the most evil people in the history of the world. He would do anything. So I don't know what makes it so certain that he wouldn't go after Lindsey Graham. Now, he may not have. And again, Lindsey may have died just of natural causes, but we owe it to him, and we owe it to ourselves, and we also owe it to our realization of the world we live in to find out whether or not Russia was in any way involved in this, or for that matter, Iran. I mean, so this is a dangerous world we live in, and there's so many other conspiracy theories out there that are waste of time. This is a legitimate angle that should be looked at. I've spoken to several people about it. If you notice, people like Senator Cornyn, who's a very moderate type guy, but he has access to intelligence. He said the other day that there should be an autopsy. Wall Street Journal, in their editorial, again, they're the last ones to get involved in conspiracy theories. What was buried in the middle of the editorial was a call to make sure that there's a full and complete autopsy here, to make sure there was no deadly action taken by Russia or by anyone. So, no, to me, this is something we have to do. And, again, I'm just saying that Lindsey was just it was a privilege to work with him. He was a true patriot. And I see some of the things said about him on Facebook and social media. It's absolutely disgusting. This guy was a true American patriot who literally gave his life and soul and his heart to the United States of America.
Well, it's very interesting to listen to what you're saying, Congressman King. So, maybe I'm not that nutty after all. Because
you may be nutty, Dominic. Don't put words in my mouth now. I mean,
But, when I woke up, my first thoughts were, I'm like, now, Dominic, you're not a conspiracy guy, but something is rotten in Denmark here. He goes to Ukraine. So when you traveled, Congressman, right? Did the U.S. military cook your food when you were with these delegations? Who handled your food? Or did you just eat whatever the local community was having?
Basically, eat whatever the local community gives you. And one night we were in Lithuania, and Rosemary got terrible food poisoning. Now, there was no plot there. That was nothing. This is, I guess, a general oversight of supervision. Also, a doctor, military doctor does travel with you. But as far as inspecting all the food, no. That's done for the president of the White House. But other than that, even at the Capitol, there's nobody examining the food that I was aware of.
So while you're out of the country in one of these congressional delegations, no one is supervising your food. I mean, wouldn't it be very easy for a spy to slip something into someone's food?
Yes, and I think that was something we had really not been thinking of at that time. Now, they did do things like tell us not to bring our cell phones in, because even if the cell phone is turned off, whatever, it can still be penetrated. It can still be have information stolen off it. So that there was security on. There's obviously physical security. But as far as checking out the food, now they do check out the restaurants we're going to in advance, that type of thing. But not, as far as I know, they're not hanging out in the kitchen and talking to the chef or doing the type of inspection that you would get, for instance, at a White House dinner. I think all that has to, we live in a dangerous new world, and it gets more dangerous by the day and year. I mean, extra precautions were put in after 9/11 as far as the hotels that we were staying in to make sure that they were secure, that type thing. But now, considering what we've seen and what Russia is capable of in particular with poisons, that should absolutely be looked at.
Wow. So we only have about a minute left. the situation in Iran. There's a deal. There's not a deal. 3 days, 4 days of bombing. Where do you think we stand right now? Where's this thing headed?
I think it's time for President Trump to stop talking about a deal. This is not a real estate matter. These are not people that you can negotiate with. He could do that with Armenia and Azerbaijan. They were fighting over some territorial issue. No, this is a fight for civilization. Iran, they don't care how many people get killed. To them, it's an honor to be killed. So all of the normal standards of intelligence and courage and all that go out the window when you're dealing with Iran. They are total liars. They're vicious people. And the president also, I think, I don't see what purpose it serves to have Steve Witkoff, a real estate guy, over there negotiating with people who are hardened professionals. Give this to Iran. They've spent their whole life fighting and negotiating. This can go on forever. So once you start negotiations, they will last forever with these guys if you're looking to get away with it. All they understand is force, brute force, and the more deadly, the better it is.
Unfortunately, it does appear to be that case. Congressman King, as always, it's an honor and a privilege to chat with you. Thank you very much.
Dominic, thank you. And believe me, it's always a privilege. And now that I think about it, you're not that nutty.
I don't know, Congressman, because I'm thinking about that grandfather in Wyoming. I've been to Yellowstone National Park. The animals are out, and you know he tried his best to run. And imagine a 1,000-pound bison that runs 3 times faster than you, coming up behind you, and so he had surgery, and it looks like he's going to be okay. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine being in that situation?
No, I can't at all. And there's a good guy there with his grandson. I mean, my God, this is like the all-American story. And then to see that happen to him, and I wish they'd stop showing it so much on television. It's almost taken on like a humorous aspect, and how tragic that could have been. And how tragic it is that grandson sees that. The grandfather realizes what he went through. And I think also I didn't realize that people out there have barbecue tables set up where bisons are hanging around. I mean, God,
yes. Everything. If you're bold enough, Congressman, if you're bold enough, my hotel, right? So I was there speaking. If you went a block up the road, that wild animals are right there, and you could drive I got to take a break, but Congressman, thank you. You could drive your vehicle past. If you get out the vehicle, you do whatever you want, but it's on you. This city boy that grew up in the project, several times I almost got out because that's how calm the animals looked. And I wanted to get out and see if I could walk up and pet them, but not up against a 1,000-pound bison. And they were all around, just chilling. It looks like they're just relaxing until that tail starts wagging, and then you've got a problem. Congressman King, thank you. We've got to take a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnels to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day. Susan Collins of Maine, the senator blasting the top Democrat, Charles Schumer, for creating a climate where Supreme Court justices can be under attack. 2 of them testifying at a Senate hearing that they need more funding to protect them. And I support that. You know, no matter what your politics are, left, right, no matter what you expect of Supreme Court justices, if they are to do their jobs, they have to be safe and they have to be secure. So I'm looking here, Stephen Marcus on my Twitter. Back to the MRI, folks. I've never received so many calls, emails, comments about an MRI. Steve Marcus has done a cartoon of me on a table. Now, why I have to have on pajamas, Stephen? And he says, on the air from the MRI. I see you almost laughing, Carlos. I see you. You're trying to hide the laugh. I see it. And he's got on headphones and a mic, and it's supposed to be me. And he's even black, a brother with brown skin, right, going into the machine, right? And he's smiling. Well, I got a reprieve. The MRI's been put off for a little while, according to the doctor's office, so I'm glad to hear that. But right now, let's get back to some of your telephone calls. I see Dwayne in Connecticut is not happy with me, and that's one thing that 7% did teach me. Folks that are not happy with you, take their calls because it's great for ratings. All right, Dwayne, go for it.
Dominic, great show. I've been listening for a long time. I was just disappointed how you brought in last Thursday, those two guys that called in and this swill, this gin shop slag that just dragged you down, you fell for it. I thought you would be above it. And the only thing is, what if those two guys, let's say one of them was one of your favorite callers, Gracie, that was Gracie's mother that you're referring to, or the other one, and his mother was the lady from Florida that calls with the recipes. I don't know. I was just always taught never talk about somebody's mother.
Right, and so was I. But Dwayne, a couple of things. One, I don't know if you know this. You do know that we on-air hosts, we get tired, correct? You do know I'm on the air 6 days a week, correct? Two shows a day, correct? All right, and I appreciate the comment up front. Where I got that from was Ed Koch, my great friend Ed Koch. And sometimes when I was in his apartment or at a restaurant with him, if you asked him something he didn't like, and if you asked him if he was gay, guess what his response was?
I don't know. Tell me.
His response was, and I'm giving you the cleaned up version. He didn't use the cleaned up version. His response was, when's the last time you had oral sex? In a very graphic way. On the drop of a dime, he would change. And I learned that from Ed Koch. What I'm trying to say, Dwayne, is, yes, sometimes we shouldn't take the bait. But see, you remember what I said. Do you remember what they said to me?
I don't. I just remember it wasn't that important because you were more important.
See, right. No, I hear you. It wasn't that important to you. But sometimes I am not in the mood for people's caca. And I'm not one of these types of guys that turns the other cheek all the time. So most of the time I can laugh, and I know a lot of it is a setup. I'll acknowledge that to you, Dwayne. I know a lot of, let me see if I can get his goat. And one thing 7% also taught me, I have to give him credit for this. He said, Dominic, it doesn't matter what the nutty caller said. What you respond is what's going to be in the newspaper the next day. And so he was right about that. But so they caught me on the day, Dwayne. Normally I wouldn't respond that way. But I'm going to be straight with you. That's what we used to do in the hood. You say something about one of us we don't like, we would say your mother. And so they said something that was very foul to me. I wasn't in the mood. And my response was your mother. In terms of from the school of Ed Koch. He would literally say, the former mayor of New York City, when is the last time you had or performed oral sex? Not had it done on you. And he would say it in a very, very graphic way. And it would make the people back up and shut up. Dwayne, thank you for the positive comment, being positive up front there. Greatly appreciated. I apologize we don't have time for the rest of your calls. Folks, America's heroes need your help now. Do good in their honor by donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers. And you can amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org. That's T, the number 2. T.org. I am back live at midnight. Stay cool. It is hot. It be hot.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?